Hello, this is Dr. Douglas V. Logan. I'm shooting another episode of Positive News Network. Today I have the privilege of sitting with Mr. Shanile Shakoor, who is the owner of Now Style Barbershop. Thank you so much for allowing me to come in and talk to you, man. I appreciate what you're doing in the community. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how you're giving back to our community?
Well, how I'm giving back to the community is that I saw a need in the community for someone to step up, bring our men together so we can provide a platform for us to sort of get out our grievances, sort of bring together some resources and some information, because that's what really separates us. That's what really, broadens that gap in terms of understanding and learning and things that we can do in the community. So, just bringing brothers together, talking about issues that face men today, and not only just talking about issues, but also talking about solutions, something that we don't talk about, often. So in our conversation parties, we get books, we refer different material, and we sort of share information and experiences.
My name's Kenan Perry. I've been a barber, Now Style Barbershop for 15 years, since 1998. The conversation party for me has taught me about being transparent as a man. It's taught me how to better build relationships with my fellow brothers, how to fellowship better. But on a spiritual level, it has opened many doors for me. I've become a better man, I'm becoming a better father, I'm becoming a better mate, soon to be spouse. And it's just endless possibilities for what we're able to do. I think the most important part for me is by using Jesus Christ as a blueprint for what we've done. I was speaking to Shanile, and something we discovered is so many Christians call upon the resurrection of Jesus, and a lot of Christians wait for this day, when in fact, in the conversation party, every time one of our brothers submits to God and submits to the will of Jesus, there is a resurrection. Yeah. So the resurrection which we look for as Christians actually happens daily when we win a soul over. So if anything, this conversation party has created discipleship. With Now as the leader, and now each of us are becoming leaders with our own, and it's something we can all take out and bring more back.
So tell me, how long has this conversation party been started? When was your time frame?
Actually, the conversation party, it's been going on now for 2 years. We started back in February of 2012.
Okay. So now you've had this conversation party for 2 years. How often you meet? What's the criteria to be a part of the conversation? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, actually, there's no criteria to come. We're just calling men and, to come together, to come in and share and build. Right. And what we're doing here is, we're building and bringing forth disciples.
Okay.
We're equipping men with information, and equipping them with information to go back, and what happens here transcends here and goes out. So everyone that comes into contact with any man that comes into the conversation party, we're looking to, basically transform lives, transform situations, and, to bring men back to their proper places.
My name is Michael Moore, and it's interesting, every time someone comes into a barbershop, usually the conversation goes in so many different directions that the average person really doesn't take it out of the barbershop. And so when you think of an opportunity for men to really come into who they've been purposed to be, unfortunately many of us have been taught by the wrong templates on what we should do, what manhood actually is, what we should be doing as fathers, what we should be doing as friends, what we should be doing in any kind of relationship, whether it be a business relationship, a woman-man relationship, or even just a mutual friendship. And unfortunately, we've now gotten the opportunity to be able to now commune amongst men and share our experiences, but more importantly, put into action some of the things that we've learned. You know, they say that the evidence of learning is application. And so the beauty of what we have going on here is the opportunity to apply what we learn on a daily basis. And once again, having that template of Jesus Christ, being able to now have a foundation of, you know, for that person who might say, well, I didn't have a father in my life, or that person who might say, well, I didn't have that role model. Well, now we have a role model that no matter what circumstance you've been in, you have the ability to follow a template that can put you in a position to be able to be used by God in the way that you've been purposed to be used. So.
That's good. Let me ask you this next question then. Is there a spiritual base to these conversations, or is these just men coming together with some issues and you'll help them get some resolutions? But are you talking about, I see your shirt says God is, but are you talking about God in the sense of Christianity and the sense of Muslim, or, you know, how are you referring to God? Is it a Christian-based conversation?
We're talking about God, period.
Okay.
You know, we're talking about relationship. Because through the conversation party, the actual conversation parties have evolved.
Okay.
Conversation parties have evolved into now a group setting in which we refer to ourselves as brothers building awesome relationships.
That's good.
So it's the bar. And what we're doing is through constant study, through prayer, we're actually raising the bar, so to speak. Yes, it does have a spiritual base, because without relationship, you don't have anything.
That's good.
You know, so there's definitely a spiritual component in it, because in the word, truth is truth. Because we've been doing things ourselves and leading on our own understanding for the longest time. And things have not changed for us.
Right.
I mean, you can see that in our community.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was the movie Transformers? What was the movie Transformers? How they got that one piece that all of them was looking for? And I was like, yo, I said, you the all-star. What you don't realize is that what you started here is just going to be just a microcosm of what's going to expand. It's the breath that everybody needed in Baltimore.
How you doing? My name is Robert Allen Dennis Sr. Basically, I'm just happy to be a part of this conversation on so many different levels. As a person that's known Shanile, some of the barbers in here for over 20 years, and some people that come through here in 20 years, it's just astounding sometimes what the different things that takes place inside of a barbershop. I know a lot of times people say the barbershop is nothing but a local meeting place, but it actually is a black man's country club. But we don't use the pretense of race when we deal with our conversation part, although race is a big prevalent part of our society. My pastor always sits there and says, you change your diet, you change your destiny. And a lot of things I always sit there and hear is, why do people allow people to rent space inside their head for free? Well, I don't allow anything negative to try to sit inside my space for free for no long-term thing. So it's refreshing when I start coming to the barbershop and we start talking about the conversations, and I can again be transparent. I can begin to start look back in my own life and start looking at how my test is working towards my testimony, how I can see God edifying through me, not just by the things I'm able to sit there and give to other people, but some things that came through my life and how each one of us are ministering one to another. And Jesus Christ is my basis of how I do a lot of different things, but I've learned from so many different other individuals who had different opinions on so many different things. Now, takes you back to the days of old where you could sit back and you sat around your father and your grandfather and other people's who were older than you, and you got some of the wisdom. Some of the wisdom that we've gotten from this place and from the conversation part is just astounding, and I'm just happy to be a part of it.
But the 4 pillars that we stand on, and that is, we reject passivity, we lead courageously, we accept responsibility, and we invest eternally. So, standing on that, period, lays our foundation. Let me read this to you. Okay. Some statistics, which I often carry with me, because this is what motivates me to do what I do. Okay. You have 63% of youth that commit suicides comes from a man not being in his rightful place. Wow. You have 90% of homeless and runaway children because of men who are not in their rightful place. Right. 85% of children who display behavioral disorders come from fatherless homes. So again, men who are not in their rightful place. Right. You're talking about 85% of youth that are in prison come from father's home. So men are not in their rightful place.
Right.
So the conversation parties are so serious that we are now having this base and leaning on truth, and the truth coming from the word.
My name is Nate Wallace. I have been part of the conversation party for a little less than a year. The conversation party has transformed my life because even though I was a Christian, I really did not have any brothers to link up with that were the same like mine. We all were a bunch of guys that more or less have been in the streets, we've been in college, different things like that. But you go to a lot of times to many churches and you wouldn't be able to find that in a large number of men. But we came to this conversation, we found this among our brothers, and we began to develop different things. And it's wonderful when you can sit in a room and one of the main topics is, how can we love our wives? How can we be better fathers? How can we be better husbands? How can we be better men in general? We're coming to a barbershop to learn about God. We're coming to a barbershop to learn about who we are as men. We're coming to a barbershop to learn who we are in Christ. And the brothers, it's the greatest group of men I've ever been around in my life.
You know, as I think about being in ministry, and I think about what I saw at your the first conversation I was a part of, I saw how you had to open an opportunity for brothers to be transparent in their conversation. And I think that's real critical to building relationships.
Yes, sir.
And I would like to just encourage you for a moment. I just preached a sermon that says righteous prayer equals powerful and effective. And I think, brother, in your prayer time, you're becoming powerful and effective in private, in public, because of what you do in prayer. So I really appreciate what you're doing for our community, and that's why it's my pleasure to highlight you for being positive in our community. May God continue to bless you, may God continue to keep you, and may God continue to surround you with brothers that will also encourage you. Because the devil definitely will be busy, and somebody will knock on the door and try to stop you from what you're doing. But you're going to change you're going to change around the community, you're going to change around some families, you're going to change around some men's lives, and it's all because God is using you to bless them, and they need to know who spearheaded that conversation. So I appreciate what you're doing, man. Continue to bless you. God bless you, man. Thank you so much for being on the Positive News Network.
Thank you.